What's up, everyone? This is Lan here with another episode of Cheeseheadz Weekly. It's good to be with you here today, and it's going to be another little rough discussion maybe, but it should be fun, and I'm excited for it. So to start things off, the Packers did fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Lambeau Field. They lost 34-20. It was not very close. You look at the score, it's 2 touchdowns, and it didn't. The Packers were dominated, especially defensively. They did not hold up at all against the Buccaneers offense, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later here. To start things off, you can check out the Q&As and the polls on Spotify. That's only on Spotify, but it'd be great if you could check those out and participate in those, because those are a lot of fun. There's a link in the description of every episode on every platform to send in a voice message. You can send in a question and just whatever you want me to talk about, some suggestions, whatever you want it to be, it is up to you, and that would be fantastic. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. We are on YouTube, and you can comment on those episodes. Any questions you have, I definitely will be checking that. So, and thanks for the support there. I've been getting a few subscribers, so that's fantastic. The show's available pretty much everywhere you get your podcasts, except for Amazon Music. Hit the bell icon wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or whatever other place allows you to do that. Be sure to rate the show wherever you can. Spotify, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts as well. That would be fantastic. I noticed we have been getting some listeners there, so that is great. You can follow the show on Instagram or pretty much anywhere else on social media, but I will be posting mainly on Instagram. And you can follow at Cheeseheadz_weekly. Be sure to check out our website with all the episodes, all the links to social media, to all the platforms where you can get the show at greatcove.net/Cheeseheadz. We will get right into the episode here in a minute. Be sure to tell your friends about the show as well. Not a bad idea. So let's react to the Packers game. Let's start with Jordan Love in the offense. Jordan Love was 29 for 39, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception, took 2 sacks. He finished with a passer rating of 111.5. A little bit of an up-and-down day for Jordan Love, like we've seen plenty of times. He made some fantastic throws, including an amazing touchdown throw on 3rd and 14 to Jaden Reed. And we'll talk about that maybe a little bit more later. Did have at least 3 bad plays. He fumbled on one play where he was getting sacked. Should have just tucked the ball, took the sack. It was not a nice looking play. Kind of held the ball out like he was going to try to throw it away maybe, and just got knocked away, and you just can't do that. Really bad mistake there. And he also had another turnover-worthy play, one that was almost picked, I believe. Was dinged for 2 penalties, including a delay of game. One delay of game was intentional. That's not included in this, I don't think. He did have another delay of game as well. He had 2 delay of games, but that's not, the one wasn't included in this because it was on purpose. On 4th down, just trying to draw him off sides and then taking the penalty before punting it away. He was under pressure on just 13 of 41 dropbacks, was excellent from clean pockets, 24 for 28 for 214 yards and a touchdown. He was 7 of 10 when throwing past 10 yards, and he threw 2 passes over 20 yards in the air. But yeah, just the turnover-worthy plays and the penalties, and then he did miss a throw to Jaden Reed that could have been a touchdown earlier on. Luckily, the defense got pretty much almost their only stop of the game, and gave the ball right back, and Tucker Kraft was able to get in for the score. The offense, I thought, was good. They played well enough to win under the circumstances. Like, I think if the defense would have done even remotely average, I think, got at least one or two more stops, I think the offense could have pulled out a win. Like I said, it wasn't exactly the greatest on offense, and again, I did not even watch the game, but I have read some stuff, watched the highlights, different things like that, and I was listening to the game a little bit at some points as well, and I kind of noticed that it did seem a little bit disjointed sometimes on offense, but overall, I think it looked pretty good on offense. Jordan Love looked pretty good as well. But just, stuff like that, little things on offense, which normally shouldn't matter if your defense plays any kind of real football, but they did not. As far as, I'll read over some of the stats here. Aaron Jones made his return in this game. A.J. Dillon was not out there dealing with a broken thumb. Aaron Jones made his return. Was 13 for 53, 4.1 a carry, had a long of 20 yards. His first carry was 20-yard carry, and he looked fantastic out there. I think Matt LaFleur wanted to run the ball more. They kind of just got away from it, and that's kind of been the thing for the Packers. They've gotten away from the run at some points, and it's not been great. Not something you want to do always on offense, and Love did throw the ball 39 times. I think they could have ran it a few more times with Jones. Obviously, they didn't want to do too much coming off that knee injury, and I think he was still playing through the injury to some extent, but he did look pretty good out there when he was getting the ball, and they were finding some running room. Matt LaFleur did talk about wanting to run the ball more, but I thought the receiving game was pretty good overall. Certainly running the ball more could have took more pressure off them. That might have helped. But Dontavian Wicks was the leading receiver, 6 receptions for 97 yards, an average of 16.2, had a 22-yard catch and run. He looks really good, dude. He's shifty after the catch. The way he moves, is able to shake off defenders. He was running physically, and he was playing through an ankle injury too. And he's also he's tough, and he's staying healthy for the most part, and he's able to just stay on the field and keep producing. And he's looked great, been separating, and then able to run after the catch as well. Really impressed with Dontavian Wicks, man. And this guy was a 5th-round pick as well, which makes it even more impressive. Tucker Kraft was also good again in the receiving game. Had a 36-yard play. Run after the catch, I believe that was the one where he hurdled at the end and then was grabbing in the groin area there. Maybe he kind of landed on the player's helmet or something. I think he came back into the game though, so he wasn't hurt too bad, luckily, and because he is a big part of their game plan. Just really great performances all around, just on the offensive side of the ball, I would say. I was pretty impressed by some of these young guys are just looking really good. And we're going to go over the rookies here today, and some fun stuff. Go over the rookies, kind of rank them a little bit, and talk about them. But I thought the rookies especially stood out in this game. Malik Heath was a difference maker as well, 3 for 29. Doesn't look like much, but he caught, I think, at least one or two of his were pretty contested. Some tougher catches, and he's catching the ball, man. Only 3 targets, 3 receptions. He's making the most of the opportunity, and that is fantastic and great to see. Aaron Jones had 4 receptions in the passing game, only 16 yards, but good to see him catching some passes as well. That's for sure. Jaden Reed had a really fantastic toe-tapping catch on scramble drill for a touchdown. That was fantastic. That's his 6th touchdown of the season, 6 for 52 and 1 touchdown. That was a 20-yard score on 8 targets, and he had the most targets of anyone on the team. Jaden Reed is a big part of the offense as well. So, you got like 4 rookies there really contributing in the pass game, and that is fantastic. All right, so I guess we'll talk a little bit defense. If Joe Barry was not on the hot seat after last game, he is officially on the hot seat, and I would have hoped he was on the hot seat, to begin the season. But he is playing he's play calling like I don't know. They weren't challenging the receivers. They were playing far off, and they were getting beat consistently. The Buccaneers didn't get any really deep passes down the field, like air yards, but they had a ton of yak. There was a few touchdowns, and specifically one. I think this one was maybe to Rachaad White, where they just kind of threw it right at the line of scrimmage, just a little check down screen, whatever it was, and he just took it all the way to the house. Like, it was classic Packers trash defense. I believe the Packers got 2 stops on the day. Held them to field goals a few times, but the only 2 drives that ended with 0 points was 1 3-and-out. I think it was near the beginning of the game, and also near the beginning of the game, they had a strip sack, fumble recovery, all done by Kingsley Enagbari, and that ended up turning into a touchdown then for the Packers right after the Packers missed on 4th and 2. On their first drive, they're in the red zone, and so that was a great stop and put the Packers up by 4. After that, it was not good. It went downhill from there, and every other drive was either 3 points or 7 points, and it felt like there was a lot of 7 points in there too. It was not great. If you can't stop them, it's kind of hard for the Packers to keep up. Again, they could have scored more points. They only scored 20 points. That's not the best for sure, but this defense is a good one, and I would have expected the Packers defense to do a lot more. If you remember the last time Baker Mayfield played them, was on Christmas Day. Actually, he may have played them when they played the Rams last year. But last time they played him with the Browns on Christmas Day, he threw 4 interceptions. This day, he had a max passer rating against the Packers. That is unreal. And if I won't say it. I don't know. I heard some for stat about Lambeau Field and the max passer rating. Maybe the first QB to ever have a max passer rating at Lambeau Field. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't take that to the bank. I don't know for sure if that's the stat. I feel like that's what I saw. Crazy stat, and I have no idea how that happened. Joe Barry needs to go, and Matt LaFleur was asked about this in his press conference post-game, referenced needing to go look at the tape a lot. Interesting way to get out of answering some of these questions, but he was asked if he would ever consider an in-season move at defensive coordinator, and he said that now is not the time for that. And the reporter asked, why not? Why is that? Why is it not the time? And he's like, because it's not the time. We're looking for solutions, and I'll go back and look at the tape, and we'll see what we can do. And so I was like, yeah, that was a really interesting answer. And then later on, they kind of moved on from that. Then I think it might have been the same reporter, I'm not sure, and he asked something about why something's always going wrong on defense. They can get one thing right, but then something else is just not great. Pass defense, run defense, putting pressure on the quarterback, whatever it is. And why can't they put that all together, especially like the last 3 games? And Matt LaFleur's like, well, I have to look at the tape. You guys, it's pretty much, you just got to let me look at the tape. And the reporter's like, well, yeah, but it happened the last few games too. So do you know, like, kind of what's going on there? He's like, yeah, I just got to look at the tape, but thank you. Yeah, I think Joe Barry needs to go. From what I've seen, I just saw a headline of an article that they're not going to make a move. I think it might have been they might have got this from another press conference today from Matt LaFleur, but that maybe they're not going to fire Joe Barry in season. They're going to wait till the end of the season, at least, to make any move there. But yeah, I think Joe Barry will be gone at the end of the season. It's just, we're just waiting. They don't want to fire him in season, and I get that. I'm okay with that. But if he ain't gone, if he's back for next season, I'm going to be. I don't know what I'm going to be. Let's just, to put it mildly, I'm not going to be high. I'm not going to be happy. So, Joe Barry needs to go. I mean, I knew this before, and I'm starting to become the person that is just fed up with Joe Barry, and it's time for a change. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. I feel like we've gone through so many defensive coordinators that it's not even funny. I don't really know what the solution is, but Matt LaFleur said we're looking for solutions, and I think the first and maybe biggest chance for solution is to get a different defensive coordinator. So we'll see what happens there. I guess I will get into my players of the game, and then we will move on to another subject here. So for my players of the game, on offense, we'll start with that. We'll start with the offense. Number one is Dontavian Wicks. The guy has been balling out. One of those rookies that's been doing great here for the Packers at wide receiver. Had career highs there. I forget. It doesn't say here. I thought I had seen it somewhere that he had career highs in receptions and yards. I know yards, maybe not receptions. I think maybe so. But yeah, fantastic game from Dontavian Wicks. He's got some, separation ability and run after catch ability, I think, and he can be a big threat in the passing game coming up for the Packers, I think, for years to come. Number two is I'm going to go with left tackle Rasheed Walker. He was the highest graded offensive Packers player, and I gave up one pressure over 26 pass blocking snaps. Had an elite 90.7 grade as a run blocker, and 88.7 grade overall, and just a really good day from Rasheed Walker. Number three, we're going to go with Jaden Reed, another receiver. He had a contested catch, caught 6 passes, averaged over 3 yards per route run. Just a really nice day from Jaden Reed, and he's just been stacking days, consistently being a really great target. Him and Wicks both now being really solid targets there for Jordan Love in this offense, and really excited to see them continue to grow and get better in this offense, and should be fun. Okay. We'll go to defense. I really don't know what we're going to do here. I know of one player that was okay. Other than that, it's a lot of bad performances. But we'll go with Kingsley Enagbari to start things off. He played 25 snaps, but had just that one big play: sack, strip, and recovery. Strip sack, and he recovered the fumble too, and so that gave him an elite pass rushing grade, especially since he played only 25 snaps anyway. Well, I don't know, maybe 25 snaps is a lot. It's hard, you never know. I'm not great with the snap counts, but I don't think that was all that many. Enagbari normally doesn't play that many snaps in a game. TJ Slayton will be number 2. I had 3 run stops, over 23 snaps against the run. Lucas Van Ness. I guess we'll go number 3 there. He had another sack, had a run stop over 26 snaps. He's been getting on the field a little bit more here and there and starting to improve, which is good to see. And the Packers, the one good thing I could say about the defense is 5 sacks. The only problem is not really when it mattered. Like, whenever they needed to make a stop, there was no pressure on the quarterback. They got 5 sacks. Whenever they did get pressure, they were sacking Baker Mayfield a lot of the time, but just not when it mattered. And didn't feel like the 5 sacks really did anything, had any impact on the game. And I mean, when you only get 2 stops in the whole game, that's not much of an impact. So not great there for the Packers defense. All right, so I have one little thing to mention here. The Dallas Cowboys went over to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills, and they lost 31-10. Yeah, boy, that's what I'm talking about. And I knew this was going to happen at some point. Bills have not been playing all that great all year long. Their record 8-6 shows that, but they are 6-2 at home. I realize Buffalo is a tougher place to play. Cowboys have been bad on the road. They're 3-4 on the road. All their losses have come on the road. And Dallas Cowboys. That's why if they don't get the number 1 seed, they are toast. They're not going to get anywhere in the playoffs if they don't get that number 1 seed. So we'll see what happens, but Cowboys are. Stephen A. was laughing at him after the game, and I gotta say, man, I am laughing with you. I love to see this. Cowboys, you're trash, and I can't wait to see you get bounced from the playoffs. And Dak Prescott threw an interception, didn't throw any touchdowns, took 3 sacks. His passer rating was 57.7, so not great there. And they just never really got much going on offense. And Josh Allen did about nothing, was actually really bad. Completion percentage under 50%. Only threw 15 passes, though, because James Cook was cooking out there. He was 25 for 179 and a touchdown. Had a receiving touchdown as well. 2 receptions for 42 yards and a score. Ty Johnson was getting in the action as well, and 9 for 54, 6 yards a carry, 7.2 yards a carry, by the way, for James Cook. And they were just absolutely demolishing this Cowboys defensive line, like in the run game, and I have no idea how that happened, to be honest, because the Cowboys defensive line is fantastic. They have a fantastic defense, the Buffalo is not known for their run game. They're known for their pass game. But Cowboys got gashed against the run. And I always knew James Cook was a great player, and Ty Johnson just looked pretty good out there for them too. But, just do not like to see your defense get beat up like that against a team that's not known for running the ball. Cowboys got to figure that out if they want to get very far. But, James Cook, he's a baller and runs really hard and physical, even though, the main knock on him is that he's a smaller back. Buffalo needs to keep using him a lot like that, and he'll produce. And he definitely did in this game. All right, we will get into our rookie rankings, whatever rookie report so far in the season. Kind of late season, but we'll get into it. We're going to go from the bottom up. Now, one of their draft picks, Lou Nichols, no longer with the team. We don't have to worry about him. Number 14 and 15, I'm not going to talk about them very much at all. Number 14, Grant Dubose, he's on the practice squad, has not played at all in any games this season, I don't think. Maybe he's been elevated from the practice squad, but if he played, probably only on special teams. Sean Clifford, the backup quarterback, has not been called into action, thankfully, either. Not that I think he's going to be a trash player. I'm still very high on him. I still like him. He's a good player, great for the locker room as well, off the field, on and off the field, great for Jordan Love, and just for this quarterback room and, locker room overall. Number 12 is Anthony Johnson Jr. He did get to start a few games, 1 or 2. Maybe 3 for injured safeties. Not been, you know, overly impressed with him. His overall grade, PFF grade on the season has been 49.7. He did have an interception on a tip pass. But yeah, just not hasn't been on the field too much. I don't have a whole lot to say. Whether or not he's going to be a great player, good player, bad player, whatever. Still some growth that needs to happen, and I think he will happen, and I'm still high on him for sure. Number 11 is Colby Wooden. If you look at his PFF grade on the season, it is 54.3. He has 10 solo tackles, 5 assists, and no sacks or anything else. Hasn't played that much, but yeah, I think he still has potential. He just needs to develop more, is kind of the deal with him. The next one is an undrafted rookie. I added 2 undrafted rookies in this, and one of them is tight end Ben Sims. I'll look at Ben Sims here real quick. His PFF grade is a 61.9, and that's because he's been good in the run game, run blocking. As far as receiving, he's 3 for 4, 15 yards, and 1 touchdown, averaging 5 yards per reception. And but he's been used primarily as a blocker, and from everything I've heard, he's been doing, pretty well in that department, and the Packers really like him. Going up here to the next one, it is Anders Carlson, the rookie kicker. He has been, as far as field goals, 22 for 27. I'm not sure what the percentage is there, but not terrible for a rookie kicker. 26 for 29 as far as extra points. I've been happy with him. He's made 4 50-plus field goals. He's attempted 4 50-plus field goals, made 2 of them, so 50% from 50-plus. Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with him overall. There's been some ups and downs like we thought there would be. This past game, he was perfect, and made a few field goals, extra points. So it's not been atrocious, and I think he's got a bright future. And if he can continue to gain experience and everything, I think he can continue to be better and be a starting kicker for this team for a while. Next up on the list, at number 8, is Carrington Valentine. I've been obviously big time, talked about a lot coming out of camp. He's been able to start a few games. Actually been starting a lot of games because Jair Alexander's been out, and then they traded Rasul Douglas as well. So he's been starting almost every game. I don't have those stats there in front of me, but has 32 solo tackles, 3 assists, and no interceptions or anything like that. 59.8 grade, which is not great. He's had his ups and downs too, kind of, and he is a 7th-round rookie, so you kind of expect that. But I've been impressed. I mean, you don't even expect a 7th-round rookie to be good enough to be a starter at cornerback. And to be fair, maybe he's not quite a starting quarterback at this point in his career. But the fact that he's able to get that in-game experience, that starting cornerback experience for, a defense that's going to be trash anyway, it's okay. And it's kind of what the season is, just growing, developing all these young guys. We were never going to compete for the Super Bowl with such a young offense, and now a slightly younger defense as well. So I've been happy with Valentine. I think he still has immense potential for a 7th-round pick, and he can continue to get better. And I'm pretty excited to see what he can continue to be, and hopefully he can develop into, a great starting corner opposite Jair Alexander. On to the next one on the list. It is Lucas Van Ness, their 1st-round pick. He's at number 7, which is a little bit low for their first round pick. Kind of started out slow, has not seen a ton of on-field action. I think he'll continue to get better. He has 20 solo tackles, 4 assists, 3 sacks, 1 last week. I think he's starting to heat up, starting to get a little bit better. He hasn't lit the world on fire by any means. And at times been a little bit disappointing, but this is kind of how Rashawn Gary was his first year as well. Didn't see a lot on the field. A lot of the field, and then the next year he kind of burst onto the scene and was a lot better. And this is a good developmental season for Lucas Van Ness, and you kind of have that luxury when you have Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Enagbari already out there. And I think he's seen an increase in playing time as well. So interesting to see what he can do and if he can carry over some success into next season and continue to build on that and become more of a consistently dominant player. Number 6, another undrafted free agent, Malik Heath. And this is one of my favorite players on the Packers team right now. Guys plays with so much energy. He just plays like a kid, man. And that's what I love about this team. They're so much fun just to watch, you know. You can come into the game, watching the game, with no expectations just because, you know, they're a young team. You know they're going to have some ups and downs. You can expect them to lose some games like, you know, last game. But it's fun just being able to watch all this young energy, all this talent on the field. There's been some really impressive plays. And that's kind of what I expected. I expected Jordan Love to make some really highlight reel plays and just to be off some games as well. And so I've been really impressed with Malik Heath. He hasn't had a ton of opportunity, but when he has gotten it, he's taken advantage. And I think the Packers have a lot of talent in the receiver room going into next year and, you know, beyond. So at this point, it looks like they have some, you know, like what, 3, 4, 5 main guys that we know can produce consistently and be really good players in the National Football League for this team, and I'm really excited for that. Number 5 is Carl Brooks. His PFF grade on the season is 61.2, 10 solo tackles, 4 assists, a forced fumble, 3 sacks. I've been impressed with him. He hasn't seen the field a ton either, but when he has, he's been pretty good, and he's been making, you know, he'll make a nice play just about every game. I don't think he had one last game, but pretty much no one had one last game outside of Kingsley Enagbari. A few of them had some big plays for the Buccaneers. They kind of just gave them to the Buccaneers and didn't take any for themselves on the last game. I'm impressed with him for, you know, especially a 6th-round pick, and I can't wait to continue to see him grow as well here as a Packer in the future. Number 4 is Tucker Kraft, and he has been really great as of late. You could maybe say on fire, except no one else would say he's on fire. No one other than a Packers fan, but he has developed a lot as a run blocker, as a pass catcher, and dude, the guy has some serious ability after the catch. And I think the Packers need to get the ball in his hand a lot more because he has great balance. Is not afraid to just run into people, and he'll hurdle people. I mean, he'll do it all, and whatever it is to get extra yards. And so he has 2 touchdowns on the season now, 18 receptions on 23 targets for 216 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's done really well stepping up with Luke Musgrave being out, and really been impressed with Tucker Kraft. Speaking of which, Luke Musgrave is number 3. I say that just because I think he has more visual impact on the team, and he does have, you know, more receiving yards and everything still than Tucker Kraft, even though he's not played in as many games. His grade is slightly better than Tucker Kraft just because he started out a little better maybe, but Tucker Kraft, has really emerged as well, just as a two-way threat, blocker and receiver. Musgrave is never going to be, I don't think, the blocker that Kraft could be or is, but 33 receptions, 44 targets, 341 yards, one touchdown. Receiving, I think if he would be playing, we'd been seeing more explosive plays as Love continues to develop the connection with him. But he has been out with that lacerated kidney, and he has been impressive when he's been on the field, and I can't wait to see him. He has immense potential, and hopefully he can get back sooner rather than later. Maybe he'll come back this season. We'll see what happens, and it might depend on whether the Packers make the playoffs or not as well. Overall grade is 62.7 on the season, and really excited for Luke Musgrave and what he can bring to this team going forward. Number 2 is Dontavian Wicks, and I would not have been expecting to put a 5th-round pick at number 2 in this rookie list, but here we are, and Dontavian Wicks is the real deal, man. 22 years old, and he has 31 receptions, 48 targets, 490 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. His overall grade is 76.3 so far in the season. He's been fantastic. I have been really happy with Dontavian Wicks. He is one of my favorite players on the team. He looks so smooth. He's shifty in the open field. He can separate. He can run routes, and he's been really impressive at wide receiver there for the Packers. And then we have Jaden Reed. I'm really excited for another really young guy. Excited for plays with a lot of energy as well. 54 receptions, 78 targets, 592 receiving yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns. And Jaden Reed has been really good, kind of as advertised. Didn't really come out of nowhere, but did what we've wanted him to do and maybe a little bit more. So, it's been just really great to watch all these players, these young guys going at it. And if we look at the team receiving yards here, I just want to look at those real quick. We do get down to the receiving. Jaden Reed is the leader in receiving yards for the team, just over Romeo Doubs, and then Dontavian Wicks, number 3. Great to see that from the rookies, and the rookies have been making big-time impacts, especially with Watson being out a lot of the season so far, and excited to continue to see them to grow. As they continue to grow and everything. Just excited. This team is just a really exciting team. They're so young, and they're really fun to watch right now. That'll do it for me today. The Packers do play next week on Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 Central. Again, they will be playing the Carolina Panthers, and I will check here real quick to see if it's in Carolina or if it is in Green Bay. And it looks like it is in Carolina. Packers will go to Carolina to play the Panthers. Should be a win, but you never know what can happen with this young team, as I've said before. But I'm sure it'll be a fun one. I'm excited for it. And, Christmas Eve. Sunday is on a Sunday this year, so they'll be playing on Christmas Eve, along with, most of the other teams. But thank you all for listening. Thanks for all the support on all the different platforms and everything. It's fantastic. Really appreciate that. And I'll talk to you next week to react to the Panthers game. Go Pack, go.